keep going when everyone else around them is quitting. They have immersed themselves in pain so often that they have become immune. It is a creative weapon. It's not a Your mouth is a creative weapon. It's not a tool for distributing excuses. The first sign of a loser, excuse. Champions take full responsibility, good or bad, for their outcomes. Tell the world one time what you're gonna do, and that's it. Spend less time talking and more time grinding. Think like a champion. Speak like a champion. And then work it out. Grind. What? 20 all day, every day. Stop making excuses. Champions make adjustments, not excuses. Every time you justify being average, you invite in the enemy. Mediocrity is a dream killer. Your coach, your trainer, your teacher, your boss is not the problem. It's your consistency. You gotta make a decision. How bad do you want it? Average is on the left. Success is on the right. You gotta choose which one you want. A champion's workout doesn't officially begin until pain arrives. You see, greatness is right on the other side of pain. So what are you running from it for? You say you want to be successful, then push through it. Stop making excuses and go get it. Very few battles are won under ideal circumstances. So you gotta simulate and practice the unknown so that the unexpected will not derail you. Every morning when you get up, ask yourself, how can I put myself in a place where I'll be uncomfortable? See, you have to master the unknown. You gotta master your fears. You gotta master the unexpected. So when it happens, you are prepared. Champions can push through and keep going when everyone else around them is quitting. They have immersed themselves in pain so often that they have become immune to it. Greatness is on the other side of pain. Go get it! The more you expose yourself to pain, the more comfortable it's just a warm-up. A boxer can be the best technician in the world. But if he gets in the ring and the first time he gets hit, he falls apart, he's not going to be a champion, I tell you that. See, and life is just like that with us. We're good until we get hit in the face. But what separates champions from the rest is when they get hit, they keep coming. When you hit them a second time, they get stronger. And by that third time that life hits you and you're still standing, the world will know there's a champion in the ring. How bad do you want to be successful? Do you want it bad enough to get hit in the face? Because I tell you right now, that's what life's going to do to you. It's going to hit you when you least expect it. When you got your guard down, how will you respond? Refuse to let the world break you. Show life what a champion looks like. I'm Billy Osbrooks, blessed and unstoppable. What kind of life do you want to live? Success is a choice. It's a decision that only you can make for you. First comes the choice, then comes the commitment. Are you willing to commit to doing what it takes to go where you want to go? A lot of people say they want to be successful, but they struggle and they stumble on that commitment part. A lot of times, the only way we will make that commitment is we have to hit rock bottom. We have to get so sick and tired of feeling the way we do before we'll ever take the action needed to crawl up out of that pit. I think you're ready. I think you're ready, and you wouldn't be listening to me right now. I think you know that you have greatness on the inside of you.
Hello, welcome to Team Tuesday Mastermind. It's great to see all of you today. Sorry to cut off the video. I'll put it in the link in case anybody wants to watch the whole thing. Let's see, we have things in the comment box already. We have a couple people driving, so they're not joining us by camera. If you're not driving, please definitely join us by camera, and we'd really appreciate that. And let's make sure no one else is in the waiting room. Okay, so today's really special. I've been looking forward to this day with you guys because it is the last mastermind of the entire year of 2022. So I have some really special things planned for you that are a little bit outside of the box of what we normally do. Before we dive in, I'd love to open up a brief celebration of wins, and then also any Q&A, anything that you want to make sure is covered in your mastermind before the end of the year. And so let me open the floor to you guys. What do you want to share? What are you celebrating? What's been working for you? And what do you want to work on? Or is there anything to close out the year that you feel is really important? I know by this time you probably have like the first quarter already set out of everything you're going to work on and do and achieve in the practice. And it's more looking at what do we need to close up or tighten up or train on before the end of the year. Okay, so open floor to you. What are you celebrating and what do you want to work on?
I'll go.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Chris.
No problem. So one of our wins and successes is that despite us being down like 2 people yesterday, we were able to stay consistent.
2 out of 3.
Yeah. So we are able to stay consistent with our numbers and actually excel in some other spots. We're just like, so whenever we're back in full force, it's going to even be better.
Awesome. That's great. Very beautiful. And what do you want to work on, or what do you see as like priority these last 2-ish weeks of the year?
I mean, still focus on and just fine tune the new patient call.
The new patient call. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do, if we have time, I'll have like the last 5 minutes. We'll do a role play of it. Okay, cool. What else do we have, guys?
I was just going to share that we are raising our prices in January in the new year, and I'm excited about that. People seem to be open to that and on board with it, and we haven't done that in a long time, and so I'm just, glad we're taking that step.
Beautiful. Good. So this is like also a great opportunity, if your doctor is okay with it, to see who wants to prepay before the end of the year and get everybody paid up and prepaid and everything. They can pay several rounds in advance, whatever they want to do to really get grandfathered into that pricing. So I'd highly recommend that. Let them know the prices are going up. Who do you want to sign up for care? Before we do that, as soon as the new year comes, the great news is you can reserve pricing now and get grandfathered in, so who do you want to start on care? Your loved one. And I mean, that's going to be like a huge motivator and huge opportunity for them and massive growth for you guys. I love it when practices raise their pricing because they grow a lot in numbers and then obviously in collections. Very cool. Okay, what else are you guys celebrating or want to work on before the end of the year?
I know we're doing the intention sheet today, so that's definitely one. And then also my quarter-year goals in those meetings as well, and how to properly plan those. Those are more things I want to work on in the new year.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got our toy drive. We got a bunch of new patients from that. We have some of them gifted in the new year that are scheduled. And yeah, I've just been focusing on going through my recalls and getting people scheduled for the new year.
Beautiful. Very cool. Yay. Okay, anything else you guys want to share? We could hear from one more team. It's like,
I'll go. So we sponsored about like 50 kids this year for our giving tree, and we got all those gifts delivered, and our patients were super awesome and got like not one, but like 3 to 4 and some gifts on their list. And then we just had a super fun event last night. We did like candle making and bath bomb making. And we just like really appreciated our patients, and they just like seemed to love it and not be there for like a talk, but just like to really get to know us and let us love on them extra.
yes. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. That's great. That's such a great theme. I'm recording today. I'll be recording the Team Tuesday, which I'll put in the group next week. And it's all about like how to appreciate your support system and give back to them. So that's such a perfect example of that. I love it. Very cool. Okay, so let's dive in. There's a few things we're going to do today to close out the year, and then also a little bit of training. So you're going to need 3 white pieces of paper, like printer paper would be perfect. So I'm going to give you 40 seconds to go grab 3 pieces of white printer paper. If you're driving, you will have to come back and do the rewatch of this part, because you'll need the 3 pieces of paper. "40 seconds, come back." Okay. So where'd Deanna go? Okay, so I'm just going to tell you in advance what we're going to do with these, and then I'll guide you through. So today what I have for you is my end of the year closeout forgiveness process, which I really, really, really love doing. Some people do this every single day. Some people do it like once a week, once a quarter, once a year. And it's like kind of like a guided visualization or guided meditation called Ho'oponopono. Has anyone ever heard that before? Yes. Okay, cool. So it's just 7 minutes. And what it is, what's really, really cool about this is, I know we've talked a lot in this group about your conscious and subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is having encounters with a lot of people every day. So there's people that you're seeing and physically in contact with, and then there's the people that you're thinking of. So kind of imagine back to yesterday or even today, like all the people you've thought of or experiences you've replayed that have involved other people that you didn't even see today. Raise your hand if you've had that today, like multiple people, or maybe one in particular you've thought of a lot. Like what I'm going to say to this person, or maybe kind of like replaying something that they did to you or a trauma. So basically what happens is our subconscious is just like freely at play, going wild, right? Remembering all of these things. So this is a forgiveness process that helps tell your subconscious to cut the tie with everyone else so that you can be more connected to yourself. So that's why I really love it, because we hold little things, even if it's just like a little tension from like someone cutting you off in traffic or just being a tiny bit snarky, or maybe some of like the really big life traumas that we've experienced. Those people, those experiences, a lot of times we carry the weight of them with us. So it's been my experience when I've done this process or been brought through it, or someone else has brought a group through it, or I've brought a group through it, you'll feel like so much lighter after. And I've even had a lot of people like report back after, like, colors are brighter, I feel lighter, I feel free. And the reason why is it's literally like just the brain, the way the brain works. It's not some like, ooh, heebie-jeebie witchcraft thing. We're just literally going into our subconscious and giving our subconscious permission to cut off any negative ties with the past, people of the past. And we do that by offering them forgiveness and appreciation. And when you do that, you'll feel a lot lighter and more free, because we carry these things, but don't even realize in our conscious mind, like when we're awake, that we carry them, right? And so it's really powerful. There's a couple things to know in the guided part, and I actually, present moment, haven't decided if I'm going to guide you through it or play a male voice that guides you through it. I do it both ways. But there's two things to know. One, there's a word called unhihipili, and that just means your unconscious mind. And I always like to say that before going through the process so that you're not distracted. Like, what is that word? What did he say? What? And then there's also something called an aka cord. And the aka cord is just the cord that like connects you. Like we're all almost connected. Imagine we're all connected with strings. Like we're all connected energetically with strings to the people that we've encountered, right? And you feel those strings, you feel those connections. So we're going to cut the cords, the connections. You're not like cutting yourself off from your loved ones or anything like that. It's just cutting off the negative part. So that's something that I want to accomplish with you guys today. Again, it's 7 minutes. I really encourage you to just like dive in, even if you don't normally do these kinds of things. I had never done any meditation, visualization, anything like that before I did this. And I was like, what is this? This is weird, but 7 minutes, I can try anything for 7 minutes. So I really tried to get into it, had a completely life-changing experience. So it's such a great tool to take with you too. And once you do it once, what's cool about it is it's super memorable. So you can bring yourself through it anytime. And then you always have this as a tool and resource to end your day, end your week. It's very, very cool. Okay, so the second thing we're going to do, and we're probably not going to go in this order, by the way, is we're going to do a solstice activity where we actually are going to write down on a piece of paper the things that you are committed. And I kind of pre-framed this for you guys a couple weeks ago to kind of get the juices flowing. So things that you're committed to leaving behind in this year. And then on the solstice, when that happens, you're going to burn it. Like actually physically burn it. Have a bonfire, burn it, or you can burn it today, wait till the solstice. Then the last thing that we're going to do, which we'll probably end up ending the call on, is we're going to write a year-end like closeout letter to your practice owner. So to your practice owner, your DC, just kind of closing out the year and write that. I feel like Chris is frozen or falling asleep. Oh, Chris. Oh, okay. Okay, just checking. And we're going to do that at the end because you'll be in a really great state. Just anything you want to tell them or appreciate about them as your support system. So really looking at the end of the year, like who are the people that add the most value to our lives? And you'll see this you'll see this in the Team Tuesday recording. We're looking at not who are the most valuable people in your life, who add the most value in your life. Like who gives you the most freedom and most value, almost like at a number dollars amount. So probably for all of us sitting here today, our employer is one of those people, right? Because they give us the ability to have income, which then gives us revenue. No matter how great the income is, it greatly affects your life. Would you agree? Like if you didn't have that, life would be much different. So we're just going to take some time to like appreciate our support system. Now, before all that, we're going to do a brief intention sheet training. So basically, Deanna, I'm going to get them caught up on what we did before since we are on the recording here. And I want to show you guys how I use the intention sheet. So there may be a few people that don't use intention sheets. Then starting it in the new year would be a really good idea. So I would write down the format, how to do it, and then get it started in January and get them ready. Those of you that do use them, I'm going to show you a different, I think, better way to use your intention sheet. Okay. So in order to do this, I'm just actually going to go ahead and pull up an intention sheet for you because I think it'll be a little bit easier that way. Let's get you guys on the screen share to see what we're talking about. Also, I posted one of these in the group last week, either me or Brittany. So you guys have access to what I'm showing you if you don't physically have one. I know at this point, most of your offices do, but if you don't physically have one, you can literally print these out from the Facebook group. Okay, so here's your intention sheet. It's different than stats. Like stats are after the fact, right? Your statistics, you're going back and you're tracking after the fact. Here's your intention sheet where you're setting out the intention, the vision for what you want. So before the end of the year, what you would do is you would print out intention sheets for the entire first quarter. So you'd count up how many weeks are in the first quarter and you print out intention sheets for the entire first quarter. And then what you're going to do, and this is the part that I do that's like a little bit differently because some people just do these week by week. But I found if you do that, one of two things happens. Either your goals and your intentions are so big and your vision's so big that you don't meet them. And then everybody gets discouraged and it's like this ongoing thing. And then instead of your intention sheet inspiring, motivating you, it disappoints you, right? So an intention is like the big dream, what's possible. It's beyond the stats, right? It's beyond like the predictable numbers. It's the big dream. And the other problem with doing these week by week is it just doesn't have any juice, like it doesn't have any fire. So basically you can see the things that are tracked here each week. I print out the whole quarter, and then here we make our quarterly goal. So you have your quarterly goal and then like your intention. So whatever your goal is, look bigger and brighter. Like what is the biggest possible? What do we all believe is possible for our numbers to be by the end of the first quarter? And like dream big, get it juicy. And once you have those numbers, like the what's possible number, then you are going to use that as your end of quarter intention. So what you'll do after you print, write the dates on every single one for the first quarter. So like the first week of January, you write that date here, second week, third, for the whole quarter, they're dated. Then your big intention goes on the very last intention sheet of the quarter. So the last week of March, you'll fill out this first row. Or I'm sorry, total overall week, last week. Actually, you could add another row to put those like big goals. Deanna, didn't yours have another row, or do you just put them on this top one?
I think that's it.
Okay, so basically,
Oh, there was something that I was gonna add, but I don't have my sheet with me.
do you remember what it was?
Oh, I think it was people we wanted to come to the class.
Like worksheet. Yeah. So this is like, again, this is a template. So you can add anything that you want in here of what you're going to track. So basically on the top, you can either use this row and just kind of like scribble out last week, or you can add another row. On the top, you're going to put those big goals, and then we're going to reverse engineer them for the full quarter, right? So like, let's say our total overall weekly visits, our big goal by the end of the quarter is we want to have 1,000 weekly visits or 500. Then you're going to look at how many weeks are in the quarter, and you're going to look at the number that you're at now. So the weekly visits you have now, and you're going to say 1,000 minus the weekly visits I have now. Then whatever the remaining number is, you're going to divide that by the amount of weeks you have left. Does that make sense so far? Give me some thumbs up if you're tracking with me. Okay, cool. So then once you've done that, in order to hit our goal of 1,000 patient visits per week, we're at 200 now, 800 is the difference. I'm going to divide 800 by the amount of weeks. How many weeks are in Q1? Who's good at math? We always have like one great math person. Let's say there's like 12. I think there's maybe 13 weeks in Q1. So you'd divide that 800 by the 13, and then you'd figure out how many you need per week to add on. Does that make sense? Then I'm going to fill out this top row or a top row for each and every week. So basically you can, if you're at 200 now, let's say you figured out that in order to be at 1,000 by the end of the week, by the math equation I just showed you, then you're going to have to grow, let's just estimate 10 visits per week to do that. So then the first week of January, you should be at 210. The second week, you should be at 230, 240. So do you see what I mean by filling it out in advance so that you know exactly each week where your intention should be to meet the goal? Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Thumbs up if you're following. And then a heart if this is not how you normally do it, but you like it. Okay, cool. Very cool. So now you do that for each and everything. New patients, kept appointments. The new patients one is weird because you're going to find out that you need like half a new patient each week to get there, right? To your goal. And if you're less than half, like make a bigger new patient goal, right? Now, what you're going to discover is the first couple weeks are going to be easy, and then you'll like even be ahead of schedule. And then it'll get harder and harder. So you're going to want to really build the momentum at the front end. Then each week you're tracking these numbers. So each week you're checking in and you're saying, okay, we know what we need to be at this week to be on track with our vision. How are we doing? Then throughout the week, every single team meeting, your front desk, raise your hand if you're front desk, if you are the front desk person. Okay. Your job is to bring to the meeting what the appointments need to be that day in order to meet your intention, right? So we do it per shift. So like, let's say you have 2 shifts on Monday, but only 1 shift on Tuesday, 1 Thursday. Figure out how many shifts you have per week. Let's say I have 6 shifts per week. Then I divide that week's numbers, right, by the 6 shifts. I should know, and I'll put like in pencil above here, what those numbers need to be. So I basically have this completely filled out of where we need to be, what targets we need to hit to know that we're on track. And you let your team know. So you're like, hey, yesterday we fell short 2 patient visits to be on track with our vision. So that means Wednesday today, we need to have 2 extra patient visits, so we need to see 46 patients today to be on track with our quarterly intention. Okay, we only have, and then you're going to tell the team how many you have scheduled. We only have 44 scheduled. So what can we each do to get those extra 2 patients in today? Okay, great. On my first, I have a 2-minute break between this and this. I'm going to do some inactive calls. Okay, I have a 4-minute, another team member would jump in and say, I have a 4-minute break between here and here. I'm going to make sure anybody that has makeup visits to do will come in. I'll call them all, let them know that we had something that just opened up for this morning, another one this afternoon, they can come in. So it's the front desk responsibility to set the frame to win the game for the team. So the front desk has to know every single day what your intentions are for that day, and if you're on track to meet them. Then you communicate that to your team in the pre-shift huddle. So that is literally the intention sheet part or the goal part of the pre-shift huddle. That's it, is the front desk communicating your intention for that day and if you're on track based off of how many are scheduled for that day. And then you're going to learn to like anticipate in advance the needs of the practice. So let's say you have exactly, your intention for that day is 46 patients and you have exactly 46 scheduled. You may still tell the team, hey, we've got exactly 46 scheduled. Just to be safe, let's each try to get 1 more patient on the calendar today. And then when you get really good at it, you're basically going to do that a day ahead in advance or a couple days in advance. Tomorrow we're 3 patient visits short. So what are we each going to do to make sure before the end of the day today, those 3 patient visits get scheduled? Now, can you see how if you follow this system, it's predictable? You'll meet your intention for the quarter. Can you guys see that? Yeah. So it's really like the front desk has to be on it and basically obsess over this intention sheet to hold the practice and to make sure the practice is meeting the goals. So raise your hand if you're like, whoops, I haven't quite been doing it that way. I learned something today. I know how to track better to set my team up for success. Raise your hand if that's you. Okay, so the front desk here or on the rewatch that are feeling a little bit heavy, like, oh my gosh, this is a big responsibility. I have good news for you. After you share where you're at and what you need, then you get to delegate, do my very favorite thing. So that's where on the bottom here, I put action steps for each person. So you would add in like your rehab person, or if you have multiple doctors, literally I would put their names here on my template. So you'd have like Andrea, Kelly, Hannah, Chris, Deanna. So you'd have each team member's name. Then when you show them your numbers for the week, where you're at, what you need, you're actually going to, as a front desk, call out on them and see what each person's going to do. And if you feel a little awkward about this, you can be like, Haley told me to. So Haley told me to check in with each one of you and see if you can create a measurable action, see what your measurable action step is to help us meet these numbers. So our goal this week is 420 patient visits. We only have 400 scheduled. It's Monday. Chris, what are you going to do to help contribute toward 20 extra new patient visits? Not even extra, 20 new patient visits to keep us on track. What are you going to do, Chris? So Chris, give us an example of something you would do in your role to contribute toward those 20 visits.
So what I would do to get those extra 20 visits is to just start talking to people. It's like, hey, so it's the holidays, like a good gift would be a good spine. Why don't you have like your family members come in here? Hey, I've been hearing you talking about how, your kids like sports are done for the season and now you have time to bring them in. Why don't you start bringing them in and just keep on talking and bringing that conversation in there and having other people listen in.
So watch this, guys. I'm going to play front desk. Chris, stay with me as rehab, right? That's awesome. We're going to have those conversations. How many of those conversations are you committed to having today?
30.
3. Okay, perfect.
No, 30.
Oh, 30. Perfect. 30. Okay.
30.
Out of those 30, how many new patients are you committed to getting on the schedule today?
At least 20.
At least 20. Oh, I love it. At least 20. Okay, perfect. So then I write in here, Chris, family conversations, 20 new patients. Then at the end of the day in your post-shift huddle, we check in with Chris. Now, I don't know, but realistically, that might be a good week goal to book 20 new patients off conversations. So whatever it is, if that's your goal for the week or for the day, and I would clarify that. So see, at the front desk, I'm getting it crystal clear and measurable. So I'd be like, Chris, is that your goal for today or the whole week? To have 20 new patients that you walked to the front desk and they booked their family members. And then he might say for the week, or I'm gonna aim for getting all 20 today, but I'll make sure to get them by the end of the week. So then I write this down here, Chris's action step. Then in your post-shift huddle at the end of the day, at the end of the shift, you meet together, and that's literally your whole post-shift huddle is quickly checking in with people's intentions and how they're doing and if they're on track. Does that make sense? And we'll train on that further, like the pre-shift and post-shift huddle actually in January. But I wanted to get this intention sheet crystal clear for us before you start the new year. And then you go to the next team member. So do you see how this makes it so our intentions are actually quite impossible not to meet, even the really, really big ones, because we've broken it down? Pretty cool, right? Do you guys like this? Yes? Okay, cool. Any questions so far about this? Any questions?
I have a question about how to correctly get the percentage kept appointments.
Percentage kept appointments. Okay. Does anyone else wonder that? Does anyone have an answer for her that you want to jump in and share? You're like, oh, I'm really good at that.
I think I have an idea, but I just want to make sure I'm doing it right.
Yeah. So your percentage kept appointments are based solely off pre-scheduled appointments. So like walk-ins don't count, makeup visits, that you've called that day don't count. So your percentage kept are like basically at the beginning of the week on Monday, I'm going to look on my schedule and I'm going to count up how many people are scheduled for Monday, how many are scheduled for Tuesday. So this column, I can, wait, hold on, scheduled visits, end of day stats, new patient. Okay, so this column, I can put like in pencil how many are scheduled basically, right, for each day of the week. Then at the end of the day, I look at, of those pre-scheduled people, how many of them actually came in. And then I look at the difference. So like I had 40 scheduled, but 3 didn't come in, or they scheduled makeup visits or whatever, right? So it's 40 minus the 3. And then you do the math equation for the percentage there. Now where people mess up is they'll have like people scheduled day of, right? Or walk-ins, and they count that and they're like, our percentage kept appointments are 120%, you know? So that's why it doesn't count. Like what you're checking here is just how well you're doing on pre-booking people. You're checking on how well you're doing on people having reoccurring schedules. Like that's what we're checking. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Good question. Any other questions on this? Show me, raise your hand if this was helpful, if you learned something. Okay, cool. Raise your hand if you're going to implement this even more so starting in January, and you're going to get it all ready. You're going to like print them out in the next week or so, put those numbers in. Yes. Okay, perfect. So honestly, like if you do that, you will meet your vision, because you're going to know when you're off track right away, immediately. It's not going to be based on feeling. And then you're going to reach out to me, be like, Haley, what are we going to do? We're 20 short. We need help. Like, let's do an event. Let's do this. Let's do that. And you're going to schedule these things in for success, or your other support systems. You'll reach out to them. You'll run some Facebook ads. You'll do this. You'll do that. So let me know too, like when you come to these meetings, when I ask what you guys want to work on, once you're tracking these really well on the intention sheet, you should bring your intention sheet to these meetings and be able to say, like, you know, our thing that's been the lowest the last month or the last week is our new patient appointments. We haven't quite made that. How can we work on that? Haley, what are 3 things? What are 5 things we can do to get more new patients? You see how that works? Yes? Okay, cool. So it'll give you more to bring to the meeting too. Okay, everybody stand up, shake your bodies out, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, get your bodies out, turn around, wiggle around, stretch to the sky, reach your toes. Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. Get comfy. Now grab one of your clean sheets of paper and go ahead and put on there, what are you committed to leaving behind this year? And I actually want you to focus on the practice. If other things come up, like personal, you can put those on there as well. So for me, like what these are going to look like might be like negative thoughts, negative talk, you know, looking at what's wrong or what's not working, bringing up problems and issues, you know, to people in the business, like this isn't working, or we need to work on this, we need to fix this. Maybe instead I'll be looking at like what is working and how we create more of that. So what are you committed to leaving behind this year? What comes to mind for you guys? And you'll just write those down on that piece of paper in the practice. Like what areas are you committed to leaving behind? What's not working for you? What limitations, what limiting beliefs, what thoughts? Maybe it's procrastinating on something or prolonging it, something you've been meaning to master and it's taken weeks and weeks. What are you committed to leaving behind? And go ahead and share when you can, anything you're comfortable sharing. As you're writing, just share with the group just so we can all get some ideas. Deanna, what'd you write down?
I definitely put procrastination because I resonate with that.
Good, good, good. Okay.
And then just feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes I just get really anxious and I overthink it, and I just need to get back to like just doing something to reset me, because that always works.
Yeah, that's really good. You know, it's funny because someone told me just this morning, he was like, I was talking to a friend and the friend was like, we need to schedule this event. Let's plan a time to schedule this event. And he told his friend, we're going to do it right now. Like, just do it right now. So if you're really wanting to overcome procrastination, instead of like planning a time to do it, just do it, for the shorter things, the quicker things. If it's not a multiple step process, like just get it done right there in that moment, rather than like thinking about it and planning it. I think that'll be really, really helpful. Very cool. That's a good one. Chris, what did you write down? Andrea, you'll be next.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I put that I'm leaving behind limiting beliefs of not only in the practice, but also at home as well. It's like thinking that's like, oh, we can't be able to do that. That's like impossible. It's like, no, like we are going to do it and exceed it.
Yes, perfect. I love it. So for those limiting beliefs, you'll want to get specific on which limiting beliefs are the reoccurring ones, or the ones you're committed to leaving behind. And that'll be really helpful. And it might take you like taking a day to just kind of listen to yourself, for a day or two, which limiting beliefs pop up, then jot them down on that same piece of paper. Just keep it with you today. Andrea, what did you put down?
I put down just like caring what other people think, and like no one knows what should actually be happening like in the office and my flow of things and how things should actually be running.
Yes. That's really good. That's super powerful. Who can resonate with that? Caring what other people think. Raise your hand. That's you. Totally. So that's a really good one. That's a really powerful one. And I think when you feel that happening, what I found is when I'm caring about what other people think, I'm in that moment, actually, as weird as it sounds, I'm focused on myself, right? Because you don't want to be judged, or you don't want to do things wrong. And you're like, what are they thinking? Am I doing it right? Are they happy with my performance? Or are they thinking something, but they're really wrong? I have a better way, So there's a lot of like I and me anytime that we're worried about what other people are thinking. So I think a really good structure for getting out of that, when you notice that you're caring about what people think or feeling like hurt or sad for that or whatever, is to look at what can I focus on instead, or like what's best for the patients. So that could be like such a theme in the practice for you, Andrea, is what's best for the patients in this moment now, or like what's best for the patient in front of me in this moment now, because it's easy to be like, what does this person think, and all of that. But then it actually is taking, like, even that thought takes away from patient care, if that makes sense. And we all do that often, right? So just going back to what's really best for the patient in this moment now, and just make that your default. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, it would.
Nice. Jenna, share with us. I know that she's driving, so maybe we'll have Hannah share.
Sure, if she's not available. I wrote down an entitled attitude. I think I view my work as all for me and my own benefit. And I think the contrast of that is that you're there to benefit your employer and grow the practice, that you're a part of that too, instead of just like, I want to show up, get my stuff for me and go home. And then also a critical and judgmental attitude. And I think this comes from like I think it comes from like a disappointment in myself of I don't live up to everything I want to be. And then the way I deal with that is I put it on other people and I require them to be everything that I want to be. So if we have, disorganization in the practice or things like that I struggle with, and then I want other people to do the things that I think need to be done, but it comes from a bad place.
Those are really good self-insights, like really powerful, super, super good self-insights. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really good. And it like you kind of set up the frame already of what you want to do instead, and then just giving yourself some grace along the way too. And I think anytime that we're feeling like any sort of entitlement, who besides Hannah has felt that before, right? The best way out of it is always going to be appreciation. What do I really appreciate about my doctor? Or sometimes having Because the thing is, like, most of you at this point are completely like massive, the biggest asset to the practice. And like your doctor would be screwed without you, and you know it, kind of thing, like that's a great team member. So for us, it's going to be really good to switch that and look the other way around. Would my life really be as fulfilling if I didn't work here? Like, yeah, maybe I could make more money somewhere else, or maybe like I'm confident I could get a job somewhere else really quickly. Maybe that's not the issue. But would I have the same level of fulfillment? Would I have the same level of personal health if I wasn't immersed in this environment and able to get in rehab, get adjusted anytime I want? Like, would my life be as good? Would my family's life be as good? Would I be as confident? Or maybe it is straight up financial. What if I didn't have any of that pay that I get? What would life be like? And just kind of bring ourselves through that and into the appreciation of what is good, about our practice owners, our jobs. Very cool. Kelly, will you share with us? What'd you write down?
I wrote leaving the negative thoughts behind, because sometimes I get into a mindset where something negative happens, just trying to get myself out of it and find the positives, especially at home. It's kind of hard, but at work sometimes too, with no shows or like and the whole day falls apart and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a really powerful one. And it's always like the same, right? At work as at home, it's like the same thing, but just presents in a different way. So that's really good. I think that we all can do that, have a negative mindset. So what'll really help serve you is getting even more specific on where it's showing up on paper. It sounds like you already know in your mind, like with no shows and different things, but getting specific. And then, it's funny, like no shows, for an example, it's easy to dwell on the 5 people that didn't show up and totally forget about the 98 that did. You know what I mean? So like, what would happen if we were like 98 people and all the focus and the energy was on the 98 people that did show up? What if you spent that day like really appreciating the 98 people that showed up, and even saying that, like, I really appreciate that you showed up for your health today, that you showed up for yourself today, then what it'll do is it'll make you come from a much stronger, more confident place when you're rebooking or rescheduling the no-shows. And the person with the most certainty in any interaction is going to influence the conversation, right? So if you're going into dealing with these no-shows from a mindset of like, oh man, some more no-shows, you're not going to be as very successful on remedying the issue. But if you're going in like, this is so great, all these people have gotten healthy today, we're rocking and rolling, and your perspective is that those no-shows are just like a couple, if you're going in to solve it like that, you're going to be a lot more successful in not only getting them rescheduled, but communicating in a way that's going to help prevent no-shows later. Does that make sense? Yeah. So always go back to like what's great first, put yourself in that peak before you go into handling the no-shows. That makes sense. Okay, cool. So Jenna, hopefully she can put it in the chat or do the rewatch later. She's in some traffic.
I can do it now if you want it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Share with us quickly.
Yes. Sorry. I was
really excited to leaving behind.
I think just like I was also kind of feeling like self-doubt, like I've only worked there since like the end of August, and then just kind of being able to move forward. And like sometimes the patients, like always take advantage of like the new people, like, oh, I don't want to do that makeup, or I don't want to do, like, I just push that to the end of my plan. And I'm always trying to be like more confident in like how I respond to those kind of things. And I feel like I'm getting better. And so I just want to like go into the new year feeling all that like power and like understanding, like I can do this, it's going to be good. And I don't have to doubt my abilities.
Yes, I love it. That's super powerful. So leaving behind self-doubt, knowing like everything you've done, everything you've been through at all your previous jobs was to prepare you for this one. And like to prepare you for this moment now, you're extremely qualified, you're overqualified, right, to do what you're doing. And then also you can always default back to the confidence patients have in the doctor. And this is one of my favorite things. So if they are like picking on a new person or giving you trouble, you can just be like, oh, okay, what did Dr. Zach recommend? Or what did Dr. Zach say? Oh,
Yeah, I've
Ask
tried that
him.
I've tried that a few times and they're like, oh yeah, I'll come next week. Okay.
Totally. So feel free to kind of use that as a positive weapon. Anytime.
Yeah, it works.
That's for everybody, like just to always default back, especially if patients are comfortable with you and love you, like to go back to like, hey, what did doctor say? You know, and like for you, who's your or who holds the hard line in the practice, you know? So like Chris, who might be Dr. Pilar, you know, what would Dr. Pilar say? Or would you tell her that? Would you cancel an appointment with her if she was sitting up here? You know, so it's okay to do that. Very cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the Ho'oponopono. It's 7 minutes. I'll do the recording, and then the writing a letter to your DC, that is going to be optional. If that's something that's on your heart to do, is write a letter of appreciation to them at the end of the year. Even if it's a note card, guys, it doesn't have to be like a long letter on one of these sheets of paper. It could literally be like a sticky note of like one thing you appreciate about them. But I really encourage you to get that out today. Done is better than none. Okay, you guys ready for some Ho'oponopono? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna play it for you. I'll do a test first. Can you hear it?
Let's go ahead and begin with a little bit of Ha breathing.
So feel free to just close your eyes, take some breaths, and enjoy the process.
One more. Excellent. Now, what I would like you to do is go ahead and make a stage below you and in front of you. This is a stage that we will invite people out onto. And as you construct this stage, imagine a source of infinite love healing energy directly above your head, coming from higher source. Go ahead and allow that energy to flow down all the way to the tips of your toes, filling up to your feet, up to your knees, all the way to your waist, filling up your lower back, your abdomen, filling all the way up to your chest, your upper back, your shoulders. Let it flow down into both of your arms, to the tips of your fingers. And as it overflows out the top of your head, let it coat your entire body on the outside as well. Allow this energy to remain flowing during the entire process. And go ahead now and ask your unihipili, your unconscious mind, to bring out everyone that you came into contact with today. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Bring them all out onto the stage. And as a group, go ahead and open up your heart and allow all of the energy that you have inside to flow down onto the stage and completely heal them up inside and out. From the tips of their toes all the way to the tops of their heads. Heal them up completely as a group. Everyone that you have come into contact with, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, heal them up completely, inside and out. And now go ahead and say to them, I forgive you. Please forgive me too. Give the gift of forgiveness from your heart with love and receive it back. If there's anyone that you need to speak to individually, go ahead and take about a minute now to give and receive the gift of forgiveness with all the people on the stage, and say anything that you need to any of the individuals on the stage. I forgive you. Please forgive me too. Go ahead and wrap up with the group. Thank them all for being there on the stage and in your life. And gather up all of the Aka connections between you and all of the people on the stage. Gather them all up and let a blade of white light of energy float down from the energy above and gently cut all of the Aka connections between you and everyone on the stage. And as it cuts the last one and disappears beneath your feet, allow all of the people on the stage to disappear. Let the stage fade away and allow all of the Aka connections to dissolve back to energy, leaving you inside and out. And let's go ahead and do 4 deep breaths to come out of the process. Lamapono.
He's like at peace. Peace be with you. How are you guys feeling? Does anyone feel a little bit lighter? Oh, so
It
cool.
sounded a little choppy.
It sounded choppy.
Yeah.
Oh no. Were you able to hear it at all?
I was able to hear some parts, but then some spots I was just dead silent, and I went to hear, and then it clicked back in again.
Raise your hand if it was choppy for you. Oh guys, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll see if I can post the recording in the group so you can listen to it again if you want. It's 7 minutes. But hopefully you feel a little bit lighter and more free. And then cool. So I'm gonna hang around for about 10 minutes to answer questions. Chris, if you're available, I'd love for you to stay, do a quick role play of the phone call. Just get it done. You worked on this a lot. I think it should be super solid by the end of the day. And then Deanna, I know we're scheduled to meet about intention sheet. You might have gotten your questions answered, but if you'd like to and you're willing to just hang around here for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we'll do that right away. Does that work in your schedule? Okay, perfect. So I can answer any more questions. That way it's just on the recording and can benefit anybody that wants to do the rewatch. Okay, cool. Any other questions from anyone else in the group before I work with Chris and Deanna? Nope. Okay, awesome. So feel free to jump off, or if you want to just stay and hang out and watch, you're welcome to do that too. Thanks for being here. Happy 2022. The first quarter of the year is a lot of strategy for us in these masterminds. So I'm really excited to work with you guys to boost everything that you're doing and make it even more effective. So see you in the new year. Okay, Chris, you ready to rock and roll?
Always.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and answer the phone. Hello, this is Haley at Cairo Health Spa. Oh, wait, I'm your patient. Never mind. Ring, ring.
Ring, ring.
I don't know.
Hello.
Okay, so how do you answer? What's your big, it's a great day at Cairo Health Spa. This is Chris and I can help you.
Thank you for calling Cairo Health Spa. This is Chris. How can I help you?
Perfect, beautiful. Okay, so hi, I'd like to make an appointment.
Beautiful. What's your name?
Haley.
Awesome. And how'd you hear about us?
Oh, actually, I go to church with Fernanda.
Oh, okay. So wonderful. Do mornings or afternoons work better for you?
Morning?
Morning. I have a 10 a.m. available for you. Does that work for you?
I can make that work, sure.
Perfect. 10 a.m. Awesome. All right. So since you'll be a new patient, we're gonna send you some information for you to fill out so that when you come in here, we can make the process a bit smoother. But if you don't have a printer, you're more than welcome to come like 15 minutes beforehand so that we can print out the things and you have time to fill out the paperwork.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably just do it when I get there.
Awesome. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure to bring your insurance and like photo ID and the form of payment.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
You take my insurance?
What insurance do you have?
Aetna.
Aetna. All right. So we'll punch that into the system and see what deductibles that you have available.
Okay, sounds good. How much is it going to be then?
How much it's going to be? And this is where I'll have the little price set on the side.
Okay, cool. Okay, sounds good. So honestly, because we worked on this before, I think you haven't been practicing because you did better last time, a lot better. When I told you in advance and you were like practicing for the call, right? So I think that you just need a refresher because it's not something you normally do, is just going through and like almost memorizing like bullet points the script. And the biggest thing is going to be like really creating, you know, that feeling of you guys being unique and different on the call. I do really love that you jumped right into scheduling. Like your flow was really good and you got the main points and got them in, which was very, very, very good. The thing that I would work on even more so is like complimenting, for instance, the referral, you know, like, oh my gosh, we love Fernanda. She brings in people all the time. I'm sure you know that, you know, and so complimenting the referral, complimenting like people get incredible results for everyone Fernanda's brought in has gotten life-changing results. Hopefully we can help you too. So that'll be really good, like just to give them that certainty and assurance that they called the right place right at the beginning. And then the other thing would be, you could say even like, because sometimes you'll get a new patient that you're not sure if it's new, like they're like, I need to schedule an appointment. So you may want to just get in the habit of saying, are you a new or existing patient? Even though you know all the patients, you might not recognize them, you know, their voice. So are you a new or existing patient? Another great one is this appointment for you or your entire family? Is going to be really powerful as well. And then when you get to the insurance part, you know, let them know, like, I'd be happy to do a complimentary insurance verification, who's your provider, and get that information down if that's something that you guys do in your office. And then also you can end it with, I think at the end, like maybe you were waiting because you thought I would throw more questions or objections, but it slowed down. Like your pace at the beginning was really good. And then there was this almost like, what's next? So if everything does go really well, feel free to just be like, fantastic. So I'll have you fill out your paperwork here in the office. We'll see you 15 minutes early at 4:45 tomorrow sharp, or whatever the time is. So you can like keep that same momentum all the way through. And I think that that'll be really, really powerful. Is that helpful?
Very.
Yes. Okay, cool. So just read through the script a couple more times, those bullet points, because you do want to make sure that it's a powerful first impression when they meet you, because you're showing the impression of the office. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for being willing to do this in front of everyone. I appreciate it.
Wait, there's people here?
I know. We're on the relapse. Okay, let's jump to Deanna. Did you have any questions we didn't answer already in the intention sheet?
So, let me see. I think I wrote some questions down here. Oh, my collected amount of cash. How do I determine, because I know it does depend on your goal of people coming in a week and your new patients, that kind of, plays in how much money you're collecting and what's like a realistic goal for that. And I was actually writing out like equations while you're writing, because that's actually the best way I learn, is just visualization.
Yes.
So
Okay.
my percentage cap was like scheduled minus my visits, and that equals X, and that's divided by 100, and then I get my percentage kept. I think that was correct. And then, yeah, I just want to know how to correctly get my collected amount of money for the week for my goal.
Oh, gotcha. So for the intention, like how to set that intention, that one you might default to your doctor depending on who like does the finances of the practice.
Mhm.
I ask them like, what's our collection goal? And also if it's gross or net, all of that, like what's the goal that these numbers should be? And then how to pull that right from your computer system, see like what you may.
Yeah.
So that's another thing you can do is look back like the last maybe 6 months and look at what your collections were at those numbers. And then like if at 200 patients a visit a week, your collections are 800,000 a month or whatever, then if you're doubling that goal to 400, it's probably going to be around 16 or double that. My brain is like out of math mode right now. So you can kind of base it off of a guesstimate of the past collections, and then maybe go a little higher if you're like raising pricing and doing other things like that. But that's a really good question, because you wouldn't want to be like, oh, our collections goal is 5 million a week, but then your numbers goal didn't match your collections goal. So your numbers goal has to match your collections goal, or pretty close, be in that same range.
Mhm.
So that's the best way to figure it out, is by numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I know last time we talked about how I was making a statistics sheet instead of a
Totally. Yes. Yeah. So
so that's more for my intention. Okay.
And then
So-
your computer program already does a statistics sheet for you, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now you can focus more on the intention sheet. Any other questions on that?
And that I just wanted more clarification. But for my total, like if our goal eventually would be like, so we're at about like 160 a week. We were doing about 200 a week, so I'm not sure what happened there. I think we just have a lot of people graduating, going up in their next phase of care and wellness care, and I don't think we have enough new patients coming in.
Okay.
But if I wanted to see maybe 250 a week, I'm just dividing that by 5, the amount of days that we're open to meet like our goal per day. that I'm writing down.
Oh, so are you telling me that you're currently at 160 a week and your goal is by the end of the quarter is 250?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you're gonna just do 250 minus 160.
Okay.
So you'll do like your goal minus what you're currently at. Then I'm trying to keep it like generic for recording versus your specific number. So your goal minus what you're currently at, then whatever that number is, that number will get divided by the amount of weeks.
That makes sense. Okay.
Cross check for us here, right? So whatever that number is, you're going to split that up per week in the quarter.
Okay.
And whatever that is, so it's going to be small. Okay, so what did you come up with? 250 minus 160.
I need my calculator for anything when it comes to math. I cannot do it.
Chris, 250 minus 160.
Terrible. And my computer or my calculator is my phone.
We're chiropractic assistants. We're not math wizards. Okay, so it's 90, right? Check my math. So 90, yes. Okay. So then you're going to take 90 and split it up per weeks in the quarter. I'm not sure how many weeks there are. I'd have to check. There should be like 13-ish.
Okay.
So let's say I divided it by 13. That would mean each week 6.9. So I'm going to round up to 7. So each week we need to grow 7 visits. Then I'm going to say, okay, so if we're at 160 now, by the next week, we need to be at 167, right? By the following week, 7 more than that. The following 7 more than that. The following 7 more than that. Does that make more sense now?
Yes. Way more sense.
Perfect.
Finally,
You're filling out top of those intention sheets. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
So yeah, I've got that.
any other questions about intention sheet?
I think I'm solid now.
Yeah. Okay. That was my goal, is for us to answer those now. So we'll cancel our 10:15, which started 2 minutes ago. And because we're good to go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, both of you. I really appreciate you. Appreciate everyone on the rewatch and the live. See you next year, if not sooner.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Happy New Year. And Merry Christmas.
Happy
Happy holidays.